Is the NHL getting less violent? Welcome back, Mother Puckers. It is time for this week's episode of the Pucked Up Podcast. I'm going to be your host this week. I'm D-Bag. Pretty true, pretty accurate. I am joined by the beautiful Danger Water and the always handsome but currently laughing his ass off Chris. Or Finja.
My God.
That was
Hey
amazing.
man, starting strong.
Holy
We're
shit.
back.
I mean,
She's
Is
an
it
idiot,
back,
but
baby?
amazingly
we are
self-aware.
back, babe.
Listen,
I love it so much.
Christ.
Episode 2, season 2, gotta come out with a bang, y'all. You know what I mean?
I don't know, I basically
I mean, here
screamed
at
at everyone
LTN,
last
if we
week.
do anything, we come out banging. Let's be honest.
That's true.
True.
With
True
our
enough.
syphilis bus and our
The syphilis
three ways.
and the
If
three
you
ways.
don't
Yeah.
know,
I
watch the
forgot
last
about the three ways.
episode.
I forgot about the three-way as
Plastic.
well. Oh man.
Mm.
We've done a lot so far this season. I mean, I think that's an accomplishment
In one episode, nonetheless.
in one episode. Yeah.
It's been a minute, and we've already been on a whole journey together, you guys.
Yeah. As always, you can come to expect that
Right?
from the Pucked Up Podcast.
Pretty much,
Always.
yeah.
Well, yeah, we have some journeying to do today. I think
Yep.
today we're going to get started with talking about some insane records that have gotten. I don't know if they're quite
Well, not even-
records
Yeah,
yet.
they're not records per se.
They're not. No, but
Um,
it's just like insanity.
One might be broken next home game for Toronto, though.
Also, the
Austin
Ducks had
Matthews.
something cool, too, that
Yeah.
we can talk about after. That
Yeah.
happened on Sunday. That was a cool, stat line for a bunch of people.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but I'll.
You're about- you
Find
go-
out.
You gonna learn after this.
today.
I
Fucking
did,
learn today.
I'll go learn. No, I missed whatever happened with the Ducks on Sunday because I was probably doing streaming stuff. Anyway, but so
Super fair.
Austin Matthews had 2 hat tricks in the first 2 games for Toronto, which
Crazy.
hasn't
I know.
been done since Ovechkin did it, and I didn't get a chance to relook up the
Hey.
year, but I think it was like 2016, 2017.
Sounds about right.
But yeah, I mean, we'll see if he gets another hat trick in their next game. Yeah. But yeah, just absolutely crazy. Yes, one of them was against our team, and yes, they spanked us. No, I don't want to talk about it. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. But no, I mean, all in all, and it was one of those where I really think I'm going to go off on a tangent for a second, but like that particular game, because you look at the score and you're like, whoa, you got spanked 7-4.
Yeah.
That's embarrassing for you. But we really and no shame on Gus. Gus did great, but we got out goalied in that game.
Yeah.
But what can you expect with Ilya Samsonov? Like, he's a great fucking goalie. So,
It's hit or miss, yeah.
I like
Yeah,
it
that
was just
really,
one of those. Yeah. And I kept telling my son too. I was like, he's a goalie I have a lot of respect for. So I'm mad about it. Don't get me wrong, but
Right.
it was one of those things too. But anyway, so but yeah, back to Matthews. The 2 hat tricks, looking real good out on the ice. Really hot right away in the season. I kind of hope he breaks a leg. No, take it back.
Jesus
We're not on
Christ.
stage.
I hope he gets a paper cut. And he
Yeah,
can't wear
let's
his
like-
leg.
on his
you know what I
big
mean?
toe. On his big toe. So he can't
not ruin
skate.
this dude's next, fucking 3 months.
Right. A paper cut is fine.
That's like a bad few days at best.
Right. Yeah.
Well, okay.
It's a really deep
3 of our
paper cut.
players, though, did get hurt in that game. So break a leg, I'm going to stick with, I think. But
Okay, fair
paper
enough.
cut for any other time. But we also have multiple other hat tricks. We have Brock
Yeah.
Bozier, I can say things.
Yeah,
Has
Besser.
a hat trick. Boone Jenner. Is it Besser?
It's
It is
Besser. It's
Besser.
pronounced Besser for some reason.
Which is, it doesn't make sense. Say Bozier. It doesn't
Everybody,
Yeah.
even when they were talking about bringing him here, everybody up here said Bozier.
Yeah, it's
No,
so
it's
weird.
Besser.
So
It-
funny.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Brock has one, Boone Jenner has one, and Frank Veltrano, who
Frank Vetrano,
is
yeah.
not somebody I'm familiar with, but plays for Anaheim.
Yeah.
He had one in their home opener win, where they won 6-3.
Congrats, Chris.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I do want to add, in that game, our draft pick from last year, Pavel Mityakov, scored his first goal. And on that goal, Jackson Lacombe, who's a rookie for us, also got his first career point. And Ryan Strome got his 400th career point on an assist. So in one play, one guy hit 400 points and two people got their first NHL points.
Nice.
That's nice. I love that.
Very nice. And then we also have our first Gordie Howe hat trick of the season with Mark Scheifele. Scheifele.
Yeah.
I'm from the Midwest. We pronounce things
how they're spelled.
Yeah.
Basically, yeah. That's how I was taught to read.
Fair.
Thank you.
Right.
That's fair.
That's what they instruct you to do in, what is it, Hooked on Phonics?
Yeah,
dude,
yeah.
We need to get together and do some Hooked on Phonics, because ain't none of us can read.
A great group activity for sure. For sure.
And binging Schoolhouse Rock.
Yeah.
Hey, don't even get me started. I fucking love Schoolhouse Rock. All right.
Yeah,
but yeah, so those are the hat tricks so far.
Yeah, that's a ton of hat tricks. And I mean,
it is.
We talked about
1 week.
Right? In like 2 games, not even 1 week.
Yeah.
But then we also talked about before the show, and we'll just add it in here. The Anaheim Ducks apparently have gone, what was it, 8 years without losing a home opener?
We haven't lost a home opener in 8 years.
Which is crazy.
Also, with last season combined, we have won 3 straight against Carolina. Even as bad as the Ducks were last year, they did not lose to the Hurricanes.
Just hope this isn't the only game you guys win this year.
But you know what? If that's the case, I want to see the NHL rig it and take the fucking first pick from us again. Motherfuckers.
Now that's when I would hope breaks their leg. Gary,
right.
I'm not going to say that.
Kidding.
I want to keep our airtime.
The NHL.
Right.
The NHL
we were talking about manifesting things earlier, like in our other show.
Yeah. The NHL people definitely have scopes, so we need to be careful. Make sure you're moving around a lot.
just duck and dodge.
You know what I mean? You bastard.
Yeah.
The zigzag gets him every time.
Bob and weave.
Oh man. On a disappointing note, the Caps lost 4-0 to the Penguins, and on the same night we broke our own sellout streak. So in the last 14 years, over 588 games, we had sold out at Capital One Arena, and that ended. And that's I'm going to blame that. I'm going to blame us not selling out. That's why we lost. Thanks so much, season ticket holders who didn't show up for the game. Assholes.
So I do want to show you guys this from like our home opener, right? They gave out little towels, but look.
Okay. Oh, it's so cool. Nice.
And then they blink slower, and then they could be solid. And I guess there were red, green, and white or clear towels all given out through the stadium. So
that's so cool.
Grandma gave me hers, but it was cool. Like I hadn't seen something for a home opener like that. Like usually they do some sort of giveaway,
right?
But I was like, I love the light up towel.
Yeah,
very nice.
But yeah, we did win in our home opener, which was good. I don't remember what the score was.
Must be nice.
It might be nice.
I do want to pose a question to you guys regarding Matthews. Obviously, since those he's played 3 games. They played yesterday as of time of recording. No points.
Right.
So
got it. Okay,
2 hat-tricks in 3 games.
Got it.
Are you surprised? Because if you think about his entire career up to this date, his lowest goals number was 2017-2018 at 34. Everything since he scored 40 and above. Obviously, last year with him scoring 40 goals. Are you surprised that he's already starting?
I'm not surprised he got hat tricks in back-to-back games. I'm surprised it was the first 2 games.
Yeah, that's what I'm surprised at. I'm not surprised that he's capable of doing it.
I do believe the first game was against Montreal too, so like take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
I mean, as the Wild just beat them 5-2 tonight.
Yeah.
Well,
but
the Canadians are their own other issue right now. Besides,
right.
Unsurprising, right?
But yeah, so I feel like I was surprised more that it would just happen to be the first 2 games.
Yeah.
I mean, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're coming out hot in those games.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
hopefully he keeps it up. I hope this is his highest scoring season yet.
The rumor, and maybe it wasn't true, maybe it was a clickbait title or whatever, but I had read towards the end of last season or in the off season that like Matthews was trying to shop around and look for somewhere else to go. He didn't want to be in Toronto.
I heard that too.
Yeah, but I don't think it mattered because they inked him to a 4-year deal extended this year, so this off season.
Right, but this might have been before his deal,
right?
Too.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm glad that they were able to come to an agreement. But
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the rumors were true,
Yeah.
because of the Maple Leafs' disappointment last year, and I think that more than likely the front office there just reassured him that they are doing their best to make them a more competitive team, and he believes them and stuck around.
Yeah.
Well, it's the
Yeah, I
first
mean,
year
he
with a new
obviously would be
GM, right?
Yeah.
Fair.
You know,
Yeah,
Kyle Dubas is
that's
gone.
fair.
Kyle Dubas is now with Pittsburgh. And that team's had a lot of disappointment.
Yeah.
I can fully understand why the thought of him leaving would cross his mind.
Right.
But I think that's why we see this as what's quote unquote a bridge contract. This is a 4-year deal. He's not locked in long term like the NHL is so known for having players being locked in for fucking forever.
Didn't they just
13 years,
one team just signed 2 guys for 13 years? Was it 13? 9?
It was 8.
9 years each?
8 years. The Sabres just signed Owen Power and goes Rasmus Dahlin to 8-year extensions.
Yeah, absolutely insane.
But they're young talent that's ridiculous.
Right. No, I get that, but
I feel like there's a reason that he only signed a 4-year deal, right?
Right.
Because he's not locked in long term. And let's be real, in 2 years, if they're still kind of quietly staying first round, how long is it's not only Matthews,
gonna buy him out.
How much longer is he and Marner gonna stick around?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
That's your franchise.
Yeah.
Oh, he's only 26. I was thinking he was closer to 30. Okay.
No, Matthews is they're both still pretty young, and there's not a team in the league that would not willingly throw everything they could to get Mitch Marner or Austin Matthews.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
I don't know. I'm so curious as to see what happens with this contract, you know.
Yeah. Right. And the team in general. I'm curious to see where they go from here.
Yeah. I mean, what are they, 2-1 as of time of recording?
Something like that.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
They are 2-1. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I should probably refresh this.
To go back to the topic of cool shit that happened at the start of the season, Vegas had their banner raising ceremony.
Yeah.
Obviously, as we all remember, they won the Stanley Cup. And so they put their banner up, which is the first for that arena. And I didn't personally watch it, not because I didn't care to, but just because I forgot that it was happening. But I had it described to me by someone else as, quote, very Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
So, Chris, why don't you tell us a little bit about how it was very Vegas? And to be clear, it wasn't Chris that told me that it was very Vegas. This was somebody else.
I did
Chris
watch the
confirmed
game.
it.
Yeah, I did watch the game. So what was cool is they had obviously all the players introduced this really cool setting, the lights, everything. If you guys have ever watched a Vegas Golden Knights game at T-Mobile Arena, you know that it's awesome. Just the lights, the presence.
Everything.
Yeah, it is the most Vegas thing ever. So what they did was they had Mark Stone go up or he came out with the Stanley Cup in his hand when they called his name, came out, put it on the table, skated over to a giant slot machine, pulled the lever. It obviously did the 3 bars across, and each one was a Stanley Cup. And as the lights were going off, the lights in the arena were going off, and you could see where it would say jackpot, it just was raising the banner. And a lot of people think it's over the top. A lot of people think Vegas themselves, that whole city is over the top with the sports team. But I loved it. I thought it was super cool. I'm one for embracing your city in every way.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
And the Golden Knights have done that with the city of Las Vegas. I've been to Vegas, love Vegas. It's a great city. But they not only has the team embraced the city itself has embraced that team. Like they love that team. So I thought it was cool, sold out to see them doing something like I feel like all ceremonies are super traditional now with banner raisings.
Right.
And I feel like you need to get that, especially with the Stanley Cup.
Right.
You won the championship.
Yeah.
Like that should be something way like bigger. So shout out to Vegas for the spectacle that was their banner raising.
Yeah.
And they won. So
there you go.
They beat them up. I want to say it was 4-1.
I will say two things. One, it is over the top and extra. But like Chris said, I love that for them. That's their journey. I love that. I think that is what is going to bring in more eyes to the league rather than like the old stuffy ceremonies. So I hate when people are like, "Oh my, it's so over the top," as if it's always a bad thing. Sometimes it's good to be over the top, in my opinion. The second thing I will say is how fucking funny would it have been if the engineer of that giant slot machine got it wrong and it was like Stanley Cup, cherries.
Just
like,
you know what I mean? How fucking funny would that have been?
Maybe
and
next
also
year,
how fired would that dude have been? Like,
oh
so
my
fired.
god. But to your point,
that would have been hilarious to me if that happened.
Yeah.
And I think I would have loved it even more because it's like, oh man.
Well, oh yeah.
Right.
But like to definitely like add on to your point, look at how successful just with fan engagement already.
Yeah.
Vegas and Seattle are.
Yeah.
Right?
Name me a team that's more growing than both of them right now.
So
with
I would say that because Philly has had a similar approach, Philly has seen a resurgence in its fan base. They went from a
100%.
dead organization. I mean, we're not talking about like Arizona levels of dead, but like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I attribute it though to that same approach is that they're trying to, and we've talked about this so many times, they're trying to appeal to their community.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're not trying to be, and I hope that Bruins fans don't take this as a knock, but the Bruins organization is like hockey for everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's nothing that they're doing that's specifically Boston.
No.
You know what I mean?
Although if you've ever been to a Bruins game in Boston, it is
Their
very
fans,
Boston. Their fans are very
100%.
Boston.
Yeah, exactly. But like if you look at Gritty as a mascot, that's Philly, baby.
He does embody everything that is Philly.
Gritty is.
But that's what I'm saying. Like they've restructured their shit so that it looks like their city and it's something that their community can be like behind. And that's why Vegas is successful. And that's why Seattle's successful. And that's why Philly. I mean, they still suck as a fucking team, but like
even
that's why they're successful.
Even the Predators.
The Philly fans in general weren't so many. I know that there are good Philly fans out there. Don't get me wrong. But in general, Philly fans for any sport are awful.
They have
to
a reputation.
Other fans.
They have a reputation. They're awful
100%.
to fans, teams, and their own team.
But look at Boston.
They booed Santa Claus.
Yeah. Anyway, I won't go off on that tangent because it reminded me of a stand-up joke. Anyway, but I just wish that like I would have an easier time cheering for Philly when they're doing well or in playoffs or whatever. If their fans weren't so awful. I love Gritty though. Like, don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
Gritty is a phenomenal mascot. But yeah, I wish that they were better. Do better. You know. You don't see other teams' fans pulling that crap. Yeah. Do we get mad at people all the time? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't be absolutely awful to people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And like my dad is a Penguins fan, so it's fun. Speaking of the Philadelphia Flyers in general, my dad's a Pittsburgh sports fan. So like, especially hockey season, like my dad will constantly like we've had this talk, and he's like, I respect the rivalry, but I wish he's like, but the fans just take it out, like they take the fun out of the whole thing.
Yeah.
He says, I'm not saying Penguins fans are any better because Pittsburgh fans are their own separate animal.
They are.
Yeah, they're their own beasts for sure.
But the difference is, how many Pittsburgh fans do you actually hear seriously wishing injury on other players? They don't they may be a lot to deal with, but they don't do that shit. And that Philly fans are
they're a lot to deal with on the ice, I think. And that's okay. You can have that presence out on the ice. This is fucking hockey. That's part of what we like about hockey. But
that's what's made them famous for over the years.
Right.
Yeah.
Everyone knows the physicality of the Flyers.
Right. Yeah.
I keep wanting to say the Phillies because they're actually doing well. Shout out to the Phillies.
But it just anyway.
So then what I'm hearing, Chris, is that your dad likes Caps fans better than Phillies fans, right? I'm going to put those words in his mouth.
You know, I wouldn't put those words in his mouth. He's never said it.
But I'm going to see that he implied it by saying that the Philly rivalry is not as fun because the fans suck, which means that the Caps rivalry.
Well, so my dad enjoys the rivalry with Washington.
Yeah.
Because it's a great rivalry.
There are teams where it's a fun rivalry.
Regardless of which side you're on, both fans respect the hell out of the other team.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They never openly admit it, but they respect the hell out of the other team.
You know what? I have admitted it on this podcast before that even though Sidney Crosby is super punchable, he is a generational talent.
Yeah.
I can't deny it.
The only thing I hope
First ballot,
is that
you know what I mean?
he gets inducted with Ovi. That's the only thing I hope, because they've been compared their entire careers.
Yeah.
Which, and shout out to them, because recently Sydney was in an interview and someone asked him a question. They were doing that thing where you have like the card on your head and you're trying to guess.
Oh, yeah.
And I forget who the player was. It might have actually been Mitch Marner. But his teammate was like, it's someone you've become like recently really close with. And he goes, oh, Ovechkin.
Yeah.
Nice.
And he was like,
that's awesome.
I get where you're going, but no.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
But like they've openly become much closer friends and they like text each other now.
Yeah. So I got really in that respect to an extent. And Dee will hate this story because it involves Ryan Reeves. But Reeves, like out in the Toronto game, just starts one with Foligno, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I forget what even started it, but it was kind of whatever. And I remember yelling at the TV, like, Foligno, you got to win this one. You lost last one you fought against Reeves. Anyway.
Yeah.
But after the game, somebody was interviewing Reeves and they asked, what was it like playing against Minnesota again? Since you were openly talking about what a great time you actually had playing in Minnesota. And he's like, well, sometimes when you're good friends with somebody else out on the ice, you really want to push them around a little bit more. He's like, unfortunately for them, I became good friends with a lot of them.
Yeah.
But I was kind of like, okay, I get where you're coming from. Like, it was still, there was, he was spinning a couple of our players around, and Goligoski actually got, of all people, Goose, but he got a unsportsmanlike conduct penalty because he yelled at the ref, make a fucking call, because Reeves kept spinning our players around. But he was doing it because that's fun shit for him. Yes, it was inopportune. It actually interrupted, a pen. And that's when I got mad at him. But I get why he was doing it, Anyway, similar but different.
Dislike Reeves a little bit more, because my opinion on that, as someone who recently, we just played Lars Eller. He's playing with the Pittsburgh Penguins. He came out, he got a standing fucking ovation from our crowd. And when his former teammates, Washington Capitals player, were asked about how it was going up against Lars, they were like, yeah, it's tough. Lars was such a good friend for such a long time. It definitely makes you want to play harder, play your best out there.
Yeah.
But it's hard to see your friend wearing those colors. And even Lars came out and he was like, yeah, I'm just hoping I pass to the right color jersey tonight, honestly. And so that kind of response I like more than the when you're really good friends with them, you want to beat the shit out of them. I'm well, that's not how he said it.
He said you want to push him around a little bit more. But would you expect anything else from Ryan Reeves?
No, I would not.
No.
Exactly.
I would not. Exactly. But that's why he's not my guy.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because that's not, and that's one of the things I love so much about hockey is that you can have 10 different enforcers.
Oh yeah.
And they can all be different personalities. If you don't like Ryan Reeves, maybe you like Tom Wilson. If you don't like Tom Wilson, maybe you like Matt Dumba. If you don't like Matt, you know what I mean? Find a new guy, and there is someone.
And I said that last year. when we traded Dumba, I was like, because for a while it looked like we were keeping Reeves. Yeah. And I was excited about it. But I knew in my heart we were going to lose Dumba. And I was like, I would happily give up Reeves for Dumba because of who Dumba is on the ice, but also what he does in the community.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
And all of his outreach stuff. And not to say that Reeves isn't capable of that. He just hasn't shown that. But he also hasn't played for a fucking team for very long to really get like Dumba had a foundation going here. He has a whole thing here for kids.
Because his life was there, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm still holding out hope that we'll get Dumba back. But yeah, I mean, it's like Foligno. Guys across the league have great respect for Marcus Foligno.
Mm-hmm. Well, they have respect for both. Much, well, Nick. Nick.
No, I was just kidding. Like,
no, you're not wrong. Nick.
Yeah.
I love the guy, but sometimes he's just a little not kosher.
Yeah.
Shout out to Nick though. He's on my fantasy team scoring.
He's good.
Right now, so.
Yeah. No, Nick Foligno's a great player too. But yeah, like there are definitely different lines of enforcers. Yeah. I loved Derek Bugard, but a Derek Bugard type of player wouldn't survive in the NHL at this point.
Yeah. Right.
Because he was so physical. But he was also like 6'8", I think. Like he was a giant on skates.
Yeah.
Yeah, just fucking Chara.
And I think that was without skates, he was like that fucking tall. And then you add skates to him and he's
another like 4 inches.
Yeah.
Right. Mountain man.
But yeah, he's just a literal fucking giant. Ogre,
just
whatever.
Who is that? I don't know they let Bigfoot play fucking hockey.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. I can only see his chest. Make him turn around so I can read his number. Like,
yeah. That's why I liked Ryan Kessler. I mean, he was not really known as an enforcer. Obviously, forward goal scorer. Everyone knows Ryan Kessler's career, but he was a physical presence on the ice.
Yeah,
and he would fuck with you. He would just tap your stick, smack it out of your hand, fucking kind of tap you upside the head a little bit. He would get into your head and fuck with you, and people hated him for that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
To an extent, for somebody right now playing is Pat Maroon, who just
I love Pat Maroon.
I love Pat Maroon.
I love Pat Maroon too, but he has that goal scoring ability as well as the physicality ability, and he can get in your head because he's so versatile in that. And I'm excited to see what he does with our team this year. Like, I'm really excited to have him on the team.
You'll love Pat Maroon.
Yeah.
Stanley Cup champion, Pat Maroon.
It was another guy that I loved to hate when he played for other fucking teams, though. Ryan O'Reilly is like that, too. Fucking hate the guy. But if he were to come here, I'd love the shit out of him. You know?
And it's working in Nashville. So far, it seems to be working really well.
Yeah.
But how you feel about Maroon is first off, how I felt about Maroon when he played in Anaheim. But that's how I felt in the offseason when we got Radko Gudas. Like, we needed, first off, we needed a great defenseman who can be that guy to help out Gibby and Dostal. But we also needed a physical presence, and we needed someone who's capable of scoring goals. And Radko Gudas fits all of that. Look at how well he played in the playoffs last season with Florida.
Yeah.
I was excited because you need someone to protect all these young kids then, Anaheim.
Yeah. Maroon just got in the game, I think it was the game against Toronto too. He took a puck, like it looked like either to the jaw or to the temple, but he just went down. And they helped him off the ice and stuff. And it was in the third period, so he didn't come back, but I was fully expecting him to pop up on the injury list. Not fucking Matt Boldy, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
But it was a scary moment for sure. And it wasn't, you could tell it wasn't an intentional thing.
Right.
His face got in the way of the puck. I think he was
that happens.
trying to, because he was right by the board. So I think the player shooting was trying to bounce it off the boards and get it back.
Yeah.
To an extent. Or just was on crack. I don't know. But
freak accident, right?
Definitely one or the other.
one of the
only two options.
Was one of the two intentions there. But yeah, it was one of those scary moments for sure, but I'm glad that we were able to, see him not on IR. But
well, this conversation of enforcers actually kind of does lead pretty well into our question of the week this week. Do we think, and why do we think, that this year's first week / preseason was less violent. So we had 2 preseason suspensions last year. We have had 2 suspensions this year, and Danger's going to get into that when we do our injury and fines and suspensions report. But we've also seen less fines, and the games that I've personally watched, while they've been like active and physical, I haven't seen as much, again, small exceptions here and there. I haven't seen as much of like, I just want to fucking break you behavior this week. So who would like to kick us off with some thoughts on that? Does anyone have any?
I mean, I feel like it's also to the extent of, have you seen a lot of penalties called in games that you've watched so far?
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of clean. Have you? Because I haven't, and I've been watching a bunch of different games
against the Wild too, especially in the Montreal game tonight. We were doing double D, and every time I looked at my TV, somebody from at least one of the teams was in the box.
No shit.
Yeah, I mean, Pittsburgh got two goals off of power plays in ours.
Did they?
They had a great conversion rate. So but again, I think that they were deserved penalties.
That's
fair. I think they missed others.
Yeah, they may have been more justified. The Wild did have a couple that I disagree with, both against Toronto and then tonight. But I think I noticed, and maybe, again, I'll be perfectly honest, shocker, I kind of just, like, especially preseason games, really only watch the Wild. Don't really fucking care about anybody else.
Honestly,
I saw way less penalties in the...
But not even that. I saw more of our younger AHL players playing in preseason games than our, like, I mean, you always have to have, like, I think it's, 8 NHL player, like, current NHL players.
Well, most teams split their teams into 2, so you can have 2 different rosters playing 2 different games.
Right, but I just saw more, like, less of our regular guys playing in the preseason games.
Right.
And, like, we were tipping the scales to the less of the normal guys, current NHLers, and more of the AHLers that were trying to make the team. And maybe that was just because we had more guys trying to make the cut and we were really cutting it down. But I think having a lot of the younger guys come up and, like, having people like Brock Faber and Connor Bedard, who maybe never really played in the AHL, come straight to NHL might have helped too, because college hockey is different than NHL hockey. It's less physical. Yeah. So that may be helping too. Yeah.
But I mean,
that might be part of it, but otherwise, I don't know. I feel like they all got scolded in the off season last year.
I have seen, like I said, I have watched a bunch of games. Not only, obviously, Anaheim's only played 2 by now. But, like, I've watched a bunch of different games, and have I seen fights? Absolutely.
Yes.
I've seen my fair share of tilts in a lot of games, but overall, it just seems like it's that there's no urgency at the beginning of the season. I think last year a lot of that was pent up from, the off season and whatever other reasons, but last year was like the first like real year post COVID.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. Is it was really, I think it's a lot of the pent up, and because the players do feed off of the fans so much, and fans react to fights across the board in the NHL, right?
Yeah.
So I think that maybe they were really getting that adrenaline rush of the fights with the fans back in the stadiums.
Yeah.
But yeah, like my train of thought went that same place, Chris, because I think that might be part of it too.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not saying that it's great that there's like less penalties or less fighting, because let's be real, hockey is a self-policing game where throughout its players handle themselves and their problems better than the refs do. And obviously it's a full contact sport. Physicality is part of the game, and you can't, if you remove physicality, it's not hockey. It becomes something completely different. But I think it's good that you have players that, let's be real, don't have an insatiable bloodlust to start the fucking season.
No, I agree.
That is such a fight. Like, if we're in like March or April, you're like that 100%. Last push to the end of the season.
Oh, yeah.
Sure, I can see where things get, because tensions are high, but it's early in the fucking season. Everyone's played like 3 games at most.
But I do think, too, because we talked about it last season, how they were really cutting down on fighting last season. And they were calling penalties a lot faster. You know, they weren't letting fights go on as long. And I think that maybe that finally started to click in some of their brains, the players, that is, that, you know, we don't have to, like, be so rough. Yeah, absolutely still fucking drop the gloves now and then. I'm not saying that. But, like, I like some of that chippiness, the, like, pushing each other a little bit.
Sure.
Like,
that creates a more
like,
energy.
Yeah. I like a good chippy game. Like, when you can feel that little bit of tension. Without necessarily having, you know, people down on the ice, you know, or fighting till somebody falls and then gets broken up.
I mean, I've seen
that might be part of it too.
In the fights that I've seen so far this season, they aren't calling it like as done. They're not like, all right, you've thrown 2 punches, that's it and that's all.
They're letting
them play on a little bit, which I do think helps.
Yeah.
I mean, the Caps, we've had 23 penalty minutes, and 5 of those were definitely to Tom Wilson for fighting. And I appreciated it. But I think that what we're seeing with less aggression, I do think that the players got something out of their system last year, and I think that also there were so many injuries last year. Not that like that's anything new. There's always a fuck ton of injuries. But I think this year, to start it off, people are finally healthy again, because a lot of the teams that did have a lot of injuries finally got a full rotation of like not having to force their bodies to break even further by being in the playoffs or any of that kind of stuff. Some of those early dismissals, I think, really helped these teams to come back better and stronger. And I think that the idea that now certain players in the league are finally healthy, I think it's resulting in people like just playing better overall, which playing better results in less injury. And I think that you have less players who are currently willing to hurt other people. I think last year we saw a ton of fines and a ton of suspensions, and I think that sent a message that the NHL was willing to do that, and maybe that has curbed some of that naughty behavior.
Was the fact
there were a ton of fines.
Yeah, and I've noticed that they were coming hard. Like, they weren't just like slapping the wrist. They were hitting some people with some pretty heavy fines. So
I still think that they could have done more and could have done better.
Of course.
Stops is a joke sometimes, but I do think that last year they did do more than we have seen them done in past years.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think that made a difference as well. But I'm glad to see it. I'm glad that we're not, I mean, we're going to get into the injuries later, but it's not like we have people who are already out for the season with broken shit. You know what I mean? From 2 games. Not as much as we did last year.
Not as much as last year, because
we
had a few left over from last year, though,
We do,
that are still out. So not counting that, I think there's a decent amount of people on IR right now, but it's more long-term injuries.
It's a lot of holdovers. Yeah.
Yeah, not necessarily season enders for people, but a lot of like just potentially long-term injury. But I think we're seeing that right now, and it's not as specific because it's so early in the season. You know, I think later in the year they get a lot more, no, we're day to day on this. This guy is out for, 3 months or whatever. And right now it's like, no, he'll be back,
Yeah. Well, speaking of being early in the season, Edmonton sucks for having only played 2 games. They are stinking out the joint. Do we think that is just an early in the season thing, or do we think that Edmonton is on the struggle bus this year?
Listen, they're 2-1 or 1-2 as of right now.
Right.
I will say, to start the season, how do you get blown the fuck out like?
Right.
Like, for those that didn't catch that game, first game of the season for the Oilers, they lost 8-1 to the Canucks.
To the Canucks. Again, like that's what I mean by sucky.
Yeah.
That's rough. That's a rough.
I mean,
like,
it's not.
It was painful for me to lose 4-0 to the Penguins, but at least it was to the fucking Penguins.
Right.
I can't imagine an 8-1 loss to the Canucks to open your season.
And I mean, they lost back-to-back, like both their games to start the season were against Vancouver. The second one was a lot closer. It was 4-3. And then with, what was they play last night? They played tonight.
Yeah.
No, they didn't. What is the other game that they played? Because
Yeah,
they
how do they
played
have a
3
point?
games.
Yeah. Because so I'm just looking at the standings. So for Central Division, has St. Louis still really only played 1 game?
Yeah. I mean, shit, we
They're
didn't
1-0.
play.
Dallas has only
2.
played 1 game?
Yeah.
Okay.
We didn't play our first game until fucking Saturday.
Okay. Winnipeg has 2 losses, 1 win. Arizona has 2 losses, 1 win. Nashville has 3 losses, 1 win.
Nashville got smoked tonight.
Yeah.
By Edmonton 6-1.
That's what I was gonna say. That was the outcome tonight.
Yeah.
For them.
But
which
yeah,
is
I mean,
nice.
Tampa Bay has lost 3 games.
Yeah.
The Kraken have lost 3.
But to answer your question, I feel like we can pump the brakes on being afraid. They're 3 games into an 82 season.
Right.
I mean, I'm not afraid.
No, but like
I'm
fans being worried about fans being worried about Edmonton's like, relax. This is like
and I don't know that fans are necessarily worried.
If I were Tampa Bay, I would be worried at an 0-for-3 start with how far they went last season. What is causing that to be so
Well, they
shitty?
They won the first game of the season, but other than that, they haven't looked good.
I thought Tampa Bay was 0-3.
No, they won their first game.
Oh, okay.
And I just saw this, but Stamkos is out again with injury.
Yep. And they're missing their starting goaltender. Vasilevsky's missing the first 2 months of the season.
Right.
Yeah.
That's not a good way to start for them. And I mean, obviously they've lost some pieces.
Yeah.
The team kind of feels a lot different than it has the past few years. So
which I'm not mad at. I don't need them to win another Stanley Cup anytime soon. They got there too.
Right.
They got there too.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree. I would agree with of any team that like would be worried right now. I think Tampa Bay.
That's not a great
just because with
Not
so many stars out and not starting well. Like what are you changing?
Yes.
How are you fixing
People
that?
have to be able to pick up the slack when your starters are out.
Right. Which my team, we're 1-1. We had a terrible start, but for us it was like an instructive kind of terrible.
Yeah.
Because we have a new coach and they're all learning a new system and we're seeing where those flaws are, and you're not going to get that in a preseason game because you're not playing your stars and no one's playing it full till, you know what I mean? But
even
I think that it would be crazy for my fans to be like, we're gonna suck this season, because then we came out and we won yesterday and we saw improvements and we saw things even more that we need to work on. So I think that whenever we say like they have a sucky start, should we be worried? It's more like, what have we seen in the play? Are we seeing that it's because it's a new system? Are we seeing that it's because Steven Stamkos and Vasilevsky are out? Of course you're gonna have a sucky start. You know what I mean?
Help.
Right.
Well, that's like look at the Devils. Look at how great that team became last year, and they're 1-1 right now.
Yeah.
I don't think they're by any means regressing after season.
No.
I think we're gonna have to worry about them for a long time with as long as Jack Hughes stays around and Nico Hischier playing well.
Yeah.
Continues to play well rather. I wouldn't worry about them either. Even Seattle. Seattle's 0-2-1. They haven't won a game yet.
Right.
It's so early on, and a lot of the times, your first like 2 weeks of the season, you're still trying to get that chemistry with some new players. If you have new management, that makes you're still adjusting to play style. However, I will say that there are teams I am looking at that I'm like, I'm not surprised they're still. Vegas, that team is virtually unchanged from last when they won the cup. Obviously, Colorado's going to be missing Gabriel Landeskog for most likely this entire full season again. They still they're so loaded with talent that 2-0 isn't surprising. Minnesota being 2-0 isn't surprising at all. They're another very consistent team.
2-1.
Yeah,
we're 2-1.
2-1.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
I thought you said 2-0, but your mic might have cut out a little bit. So yeah,
but like, I'm not. Those are teams I'm not surprised about.
Yeah.
And consistency is key.
Yeah,
and I think
and especially for the Wild, I talked about it last year on the show too. and I love my team, but I'm also very critical of my team in the sense of we play really well almost all season long. And forget how to fucking play hockey in the playoffs. But some of that is injury. There's always additional things that come into play.
Right.
But I'm really glad Brock Faber is fucking an incredible kid too. Like people can. When he scored his first goal in the first game, I looked at Matt and I was like, Bedard, who? But it was like, it's another. He's a local kid, so it's not like big news, when he came to the team and whatever. But he's an impressive kid, and I hope he sticks around Minnesota for a long time. Blind as a bat, apparently, though.
That's funny.
If they bring it up in, the Not Weird Wild commercials that our team does. There's a new one, the Gus Bus one. It's pretty funny. I'll show it to you guys later, but his mom's even in it. She comes up and goes, Brock, your glasses. Because, he's blind without glasses. But on the ice, I guess he wears contacts. But the guy said second he comes off the ice, he puts glasses on.
Oh, yeah.
But, nice. Yeah, it's one of those things where I'm not overly surprised. I'm not overly surprised at all about the stats right now, or the standings right now.
How could we be? We have some teams that have only played 2 games.
Yeah.
And
somebody's got to win and somebody's got to lose in every game.
Dallas has only played 1.
Dallas has only played 1 game.
They played a singular game, and they won it.
And they won.
Good for them. But,
right.
and then we have teams that have played 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And 4 isn't a good sample size either. So
No, absolutely not.
Well, we've talked about it enough, so why don't we jump on into our injury report, and also fines and suspensions. So, Danger, you can pick whichever one you want to lead with first.
Well, we'll start with fines and suspensions. So we did technically have 1 suspension in the preseason. It was Arthur Kaliev from the Kings. He got suspended for 4 games, 2 preseason and 2 regular season games, which, man, that sucks to have to miss your first 2 games of the season. For kneeing Chase DeLeo, who is still out for his team. I assume with the injury that caused.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm assuming things incorrectly. Chris might know because Chase plays for Anaheim, doesn't he?
Yeah, he did not play at all.
Right. So it's still that injury, from that game. Okay. And then Brett Howden from the Vegas Golden Knights got suspended 2 games for an illegal check to the head of Brandon Tanev. Or Tanev.
Yeah, and Tanev is also still hurt.
Which is
unfortunate.
And
that one just happened on the 10th, so. And then for fines, we have on the 11th, Philip Denault got fined $5,000 for slashing Ross Colton from Colorado. And then on the 12th, Garnet Hathaway, beautiful name, by the way, from the Flyers, got fined $5,000 for kneeing Zach Rerwinski, who plays for Columbus.
Yep.
Yeah, I saw that one. That one was bad.
Yeah. I'm disappointed in Garney for that. As a former Caps player. I always liked Hath. But he is, I think, trying to fit into that very physical style of play that we got early from Philly. And I think he's doing it maybe the wrong way if he's getting fined $5,000 for kneeing somebody.
Yeah, there's one way to be physical, and there's one way that really just says, I'm
an asshole.
Care. I'm gonna go out and hurt you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's absolutely what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then for injuries, there are surprisingly a decent amount of injuries already in this first week. This does go back, so I always go back to the last time of recording. So we last recorded on October 3rd, just for the record. But from Anaheim, we have Leo Carlson, and all of these people are listed on IR. Carlson's the only one that it has notes for. So it says lower body. He did practice Tuesday, so today, I assume. And hopes to make his NHL debut Thursday against Dallas, said the Sporting Tribune. which I kind of like. The website that I used last season no longer does injury reports, so I'm getting used to a new format too, guys, so I apologize. But I kind of like that this says, according to, and gives names. I'm not going to give names. And then the source. So Brock McGinn is also out on IR, Isaac Lundstrom, Alex Kilhorn, and Chase DeLeo. None of them are listed as to what area of the body. They all have the syphilis bust.
And the Kilhorn injury happened in the preseason too.
Okay.
Which sucks because we just signed him in the offseason.
Yeah.
So that's like, he's not going to start this. And Lundstrom, he's still dealing with it.
The 9th,
Yeah.
It's sad. So I forget what your first game was.
We played Saturday, so the 14th.
Okay. So so those 3 for you guys. Actually, and Brock McGinn. Because that was the 13th.
We played...
that was the Friday before.
Yeah, the 14th.
Yeah. So those would have all been... But then the 13th was probably then maybe he got hurt in practice or something.
Yeah.
Or it's a personal deal. I don't know if it's a for sure injury.
Syphilis.
This one doesn't tell me quite so clearly, like, personal, issue or whatever.
Some of them do, but not all of them,
Yeah, not as many as when we use CBC. But also, if anybody listening has any other like great sources with real like detailed, the more detailed the better. When it comes to me, my OCD likes it best. Also, the jokes prefer more detail because then it's funnier when there isn't detail.
Right.
But yeah, so if anybody has any ideas, please comment below, whatever, sideways, email us, whatever. Find us on Discord. Yeah,
Jinx.
carrier pigeon. Yeah. Like always, I prefer Hedwig, but that's okay. But for the Coyotes, so far only one person hurt, though. I think theirs was in the preseason, and the date this happened was October 9th. IR, their goalie, Anson Thornton, is out currently. For Buffalo, we have Jack Quinn as of the 10th. For Calgary, we have Oliver Kylington, is on IR as of the 9th. And for his it does say personal issues placed on long-term IR Monday, according to Cap Friendly. Kevin Rooney is on IR, and Jacob Pelletier. Motherfucker. I figured it was French with that last name. So Pelletier would have been how it was said if he was French. Anyway, for Carolina, Ryan Suzuki. I got really confused by the name Suzuki for a second. Nick Suzuki is the one I'm like, he was just on the ice tonight with Montreal. Got it. Sorry if watching the hamsters try to get that wheel. It's a little squeaky.
Run, Eddie, run!
Run, keep going. So Ryan Suzuki is on IR as of the 13th. Per Walt Ruff of the I didn't say it. I said I wasn't going to give names, but I gave Walt's name out. Well, of the Hurricanes' official website. There we go. It's official. Said that Suzuki's shoulder is not close to returning to action currently. And then Andrei Svechnikov, which is a huge loss for them.
Yeah, that's a bummer. That's a big bummer.
This was as of the 10th. It said won't be available for Wednesday's opener versus Ottawa. Likely won't travel with the Hurricanes for the team's upcoming 6-game road trip.
They start on the road.
That fucking
6 games.
hurt.
That's a huge road trip. For Chicago, Luke Phillip is out IR as of the 9th. And Samuel Savoy? I can't tell if that's an Savoy. It looks like an L on my screen, but
it does look like an L. Yeah.
My eye is really hurt right now too. So
I know I had to look for it.
Yeah, I'm like, what? How unattractive can I make my face while trying to
stupid pixels?
Anyways, let me actually make my life way flipping easier and make this bigger. For Colorado, we have Maros Judlika.
Judlika.
That's a name I haven't heard.
Judlika. Or Jedlika.
I'm going to say Jedlika because that's
Let's go with Maros.
Yeah. He is just listed as out. No further info on that injury. Pavel Francouz.
Francouz is such a fun name to say.
I know.
Right? He is on IR as of the 11th. Per their general manager, Chris McFarland. He has a joint... a groin injury and is out indefinitely, per their press conference on Wednesday.
It's a Frank Alex who's got a joint.
Yeah. Just the one, though.
Sure, his wife, girlfriend, partner, whatever, is thrilled to make sure that he still has a joint.
Has a joint.
Has a joint.
Just one joint. Alex Bocage, I'm going to go with that, is on IR, and so is Jean-Luc Foodie. IR.
Also, great name.
Yeah, Jean-Luc. Like, when we had, I still have a Pierre-Marc Bouchard jersey.
Yeah,
but
that's a great name.
PMB, great name, but also a good player. So, like, not great player, but he was my favorite at the time. For Columbus, we have Zach Berwinski. We already talked about him.
He got kneed.
He got kneed to the head, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And unfortunate.
Yeah.
I can never say his name right. For
Rupe
Dallas, we
Hintz.
have Rupe Hintz. I always want to say Rupe. But he is out with an upper body injury, currently listed as day-to-day. He was practicing without restrictions on Friday, according to the Stars official website. And Chase Wheatcroft.
Maybe he will return soon.
What a great name.
Ooh, Wheatcroft.
Wheatcroft. He is on IR for an undisclosed syphilis injury.
Undisclosed syphilis.
Yeah.
Undisclosed. That also could be a shirt. Undisclosed syphilis.
That's a
but
lawsuit.
He was put on the injured/non-roster list, which I've never heard the words non-roster list. Well, I mean, I have, but not here. Anyway, for Detroit, we have Robbie Fabry, just listed as out, and then Matt Luff. And that was as of today. Matt Luff was as of the 9th. He's listed as injured reserve, no info. Another great name for Edmonton, we have Brady Stonehouse.
Yeah.
Some of these names, like Wheatcroft too, sounds like a freaking author's name. Stonehouse, Wheatcroft, White Cloud, like.
Yeah.
But he is on IR as of the 10th, and their goalie Ryan Fanti. Fontai.
God, I hope it's Fontai.
I do too. Petition to change your last name to Fontai.
It's Fontai.
Yeah.
But it has to be said like that.
Right.
What's your last name? Fontai? Are you not sure? Or are you asking a question? No, this is how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
It is in itself a question.
Right.
It is. Fucking phenomenal. He is also on IR as of the 10th. For the Florida Panthers, we have some easy names. Sam Bennett, as of today, IR lower body, placed on IR today. Aaron Ekblad, IR shoulder injury, placed on long-term IR on Tuesday, per Puckpedia. And then Brandon Montour is on IR. For the Kings, we have Victor Arvidsson, considered month-to-month with a back injury as of the 14th.
Yeah, it's not looking great for Arvidsson.
Right
now.
Yeah. And
he might not play this year.
Yeah, I wish we knew a little bit more about it. He is 30. We all know our bodies go to shit at 30. If you didn't know that, it's true.
Like, he'll be back.
I can say that. Oh, yeah, he'll be back, but it just may take longer to come back.
Mm-hmm.
For the Wild, we are not looking great, although 3 of these people, I believe, are AHL, so I'm not going to bring those up. But we have Alex Goligoski, who's out as of today for the lower body injury. Won't be playing, or didn't play today against Montreal, per Michael Russo, which I love Russo. Come on the podcast.
I'm down.
Matt Boldy, this was the one that really surprised all of us after the Toronto game. Nobody knew he was hurt. At the time, he had a goal. I think even an assist, maybe 2. But he is out with an upper body injury, currently considered weak, also according to Michael Russo at The Athletic. This is the one that hurt. This was a preseason injury, or no, opening night injury, I believe. But Jared Spurgeon, our captain, heard somebody on The Athletic, upper body injury. He is working out off the ice, but he's not close to coming back. So, do wish our dear sweet captain the quickest of recoveries, because the boys miss you. They're doing okay at making up cap stuff without you, but we miss you. For Montreal, we have Kirby Doc.
Great.
That's how you would pronounce that.
Yeah.
He is just listed as out. We have Christian Dvorak. He was placed on long-term IR with a knee injury per cap friendly on the 9th. And Chris Weidman also was put on IR on the 9th. For Nashville, we have Luke Shen is listed as out as of today.
Nice.
Yeah, world is shocked and saddened by that one. Just kidding. Everybody don't cut at me in the comments, okay?
Philly Predators fans are just going to throw catfish at you.
The three that listen to our podcast.
The three.
Right?
Yeah.
Also, hi, guys. Nice
all
to see you
Predators
again.
fans.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, Preds. Anyway, for New Jersey, we have Eric Halla. Halla. Thank you. He didn't practice Tuesday. He is listed as day-to-day as of today, being Tuesday, with an upper body injury, according to the official website. Thomas Nosek is also listed as day-to-day. And Nico Dawes.
Great name.
Listed as IR. He's their goalie as of the 9th. The Islanders lost Scott Mayfield today. He is just listed as out. For Ottawa, we have Shane Pinto. This is out, and he is a restricted free agent and remains unsigned ahead of the season opener. That was updated on the 10th. And Josh Norris, as of the 9th, has been on IR. For Philly, we have Rasmus Ristolainen. Right?
Ristolainen.
Yeah, close enough.
So
also a fun name.
It is a great name. My brain worked really hard for that. He has an undisclosed injury, but is listed as IR as of the 12th. For Pittsburgh, we have Will Butcher. I'm sorry. Will Butcher what? Is my question. He also has an undisclosed injury.
It was so fucking stupid.
It was, but that's where my brain
But it was
went.
so good because my brain had a
That's why I
response that is not appropriate for air. So
I laughed and then I kind of stopped, but D laughed. Just hearing D chuckle just made me.
Because I had a response in my head that I was like, "You got to keep that shit in there. That shit is not meant to be heard."
That's not
by
for the
anybody
outsides.
else.
Pittsburgh also lost Ravius
Ravis, I think.
Ravis, probably Ravis with an I instead of a Y. That makes sense.
Call me and tell me what your name is.
Right?
For real.
How to pronounce it.
I wonder where he's from. That might tell me.
Yeah.
But he is on IR as of the 9th. No info listed.
Latvia.
He's from Latvia. Yeah. Could be either then.
Ravis Ansons.
Yeah, I think it's Ravis. For San Jose, we have Mark Edward Vlasic, like the pickle?
The pickle.
Vlasic.
Okay.
Vlasic.
Yeah, but I wonder if he's part of the pickle family.
I don't think he's part of the pickle empire.
Edward, come on the podcast and just tell me if you're related to the Vlasic
Vlasic guy
family. Because I like pickles. He is listed as out as of the 16th with a lower body injury. Will not play today. I don't think they've started their game, or they probably have by now. But against Carolina, per the San Jose Mercury News, Nikita Okhutnik?
Yeah.
Is that actually right?
Yep.
I was like, that's got to be a little K. The first K has got to be a little one. Anyway, you got to get that phlegm going in your throat.
A little bit, yeah.
To say some of these names. As of the 14th, he is on IR with an abdomen injury, about a week away from being a full participant in practices. So he, towards the end of this week, next week, should be practicing.
It was my turn to have the fucked up thought. Anyway.
Sorry. All right, back on track.
Also, they lost Radim Simic. Or Simic.
Either way.
On the 14th, with a lower body injury. He is also stated as being about a week away from being fully able to practice, per the San Jose Hockey Now newspaper, website, podcast, ?
Something.
Bit of both.
Right? All of the
above.
Mikhail Granlund also is injured or at least updated on the 14th as on IR with a lower body injury. He is listed as week to week. David Quinn did say that on also San Jose Hockey Now. I assume that's probably a podcast. Logan Couture.
Yeah.
Won't play Thursday. This was probably last Thursday because this was on the 10th. He's on IR with a lower body injury against Vegas on opening night. Well, obviously, yeah, that was last week. Anyway, according to the San Jose Mercury News. And Mitchell Russell, as of the 9th, is also on IR for them.
Mitchell's not good enough to have a report.
Nope.
No, he gets nothing. No details. But otherwise, I mean, that's otherwise the one team with the most detail. So well done. Seattle, the only one listed right now is Brandon Tanev, which we talked about earlier with that injury. I think that was a slashing, if I remember right.
Illegal check to the head.
Yeah. Illegal check
he had the check to the head too. Okay. For St. Louis, we have Pavel Buchnevich is listed as day-to-day with an upper body injury, doubtful for Thursday's matchup with Arizona. This was as of today. So, not playing this week, most likely, per St. Louis Post-Dispatch. And Joshua Jacobs is also listed as IR. He doesn't even have a position listed, which is interesting. And that part was updated on the 10th. For Tampa Bay, we have Steven Stamkos, just listed as out, no info. Tyler Mott is on IR as of the 13th with a hand injury. Will be lost to the Lightning for an indefinite, I can read.
I was like, that's a different word. For an infinite amount of time.
That's
the word infinite is in the word indefinite.
Yeah, like my brain.
True.
You know how like when
to be
certain
fair.
people read by reading like the first few letters and the last few letters of words? That's 100% what my brain just did.
Yeah.
I saw IN and then finite. And I missed the D. So he is out for an indefinite period of time, per the Valley Sports Florida report. Roman Schmidt is on IR as of the 10th. No details there. Andrei Vasilevsky, I can't speak his name into existence. Thank you. Right now, as of the 10th, he has moved to long-term IR on Tuesday.
Yowza.
I don't remember. I feel like we talked about him last time. Because I feel like that's a carryover injury from last season or postseason, but I might be wrong on that. Jack Finley is also out as of the 10th on IR. No details there. For Toronto, we have Connor Timmins on IR as of the 10th. For Vancouver, we have Guillaume Brisebois on IR as of today. No details there. We have Ilya Mikheyev.
Yes, there you go.
Thank you. As of yesterday on IR with a knee injury, taking contact on Monday's practice. So yesterday was at least taking some contact, but I don't believe played. Or no, that's Vancouver. Never mind. I'm dumb. Per The Athletic. And Teddy Beluger is out.
Which is also a great name. Yeah.
It is a great name. I wish I had more to say about Teddy.
Teddy's fucking hurt. That's all we got.
Fucking feel better, man. Get good, man. As good as in feel better. For Vegas, we have Alex Pietrangelo. I can't.
You know what? That one was the closest.
My eye hurts so bad right now. I wanted to say Pellegrigio for whatever reason.
Pellegrigio.
Nope. That's a water. That's not a hockey player.
That's
Alex Pietrangelo is out as of today. Isaiah Seville is also listed as IR as of the 10th, and Daniil Mirmanov is out on IR as of the 10th.
Mm-hmm.
We're almost done, I promise, everybody. For Washington, we have Charlie Lindgren just listed as out. Do you know what happened to Lindgren, D? It was as of today.
Yeah, he was injured in the morning skate.
Oh.
Ouchies.
Or no, I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I think it was. I think it was him.
Joel Edmondson, as of yesterday, was placed on IR for a hand injury, moved to long-term IR on Monday.
No, that's right.
for NHL.com.
Edmondson was the injury during the morning skate.
Okay.
Lindgren, I think, is from the last game he played.
Okay. And then we have Max Pacioretty.
Pacioretty, yeah. Close enough.
Pacioretty.
It's PAC.
But it's an Italian last name.
I don't give a fuck. He's Pac-Man.
Oh,
okay. Anyway, he is out still long-term IR with an Achilles injury. And that was updated on the 9th. And then for Winnipeg, we have Gabriel Vilardi, listed as day-to-day as of today, and Vile, whatever you want to say, Heinola, on IR as of the 6th. I'm sure it's Vile, but Vile also is funny to me, so.
Vile!
Vile! Like Vile. Vile.
Right.
Anywho.
Oh, we forgot to mention that Connor Bedard got fined $2,500
for
playing without a helmet.
That's right.
For just skating. He wanted to do like a rookie lap in warm-ups without a helmet. Got fined $2,500. I believe I read or heard somewhere that the team was going to play it instead. But I also think it's funny and kind of adorable that, like, apparently he kept going back and forth, but, like, walked out on the ice or skated onto the ice without his stick.
Yeah.
He did. He almost skated on the ice without his stick. His teammates had to remind him.
Yeah.
Because he places it so that the blade doesn't touch the ground, and a trainer moved it thinking it was done.
Oh,
like
it was.
It wasn't where he normally grabs it, like he places it in the hallway with the blade touching the wall.
I prefer to think he just forgot it, personally. Because I think that's funnier.
Hey, listen, it's your world.
Like,
right.
It is my world. Y'all are just fucking living in it, man. No, like, I thought that was just kind of cute. Like, your first NHL game and you forget your stick.
Yeah.
I know.
So that's kind of why I was trying to hold on to that. But that is interesting. Yeah. I knew he was really superstitious about certain things, but
yeah, he leaves his stick out in the hallway. With the blade not touching the ground.
Well, and I think that's how a lot of the trainers mark them themselves as they flip them around, I believe.
I think so.
Trainers, get good.
Well, thank you, Danger, for our Names with Danger segment. Which is my favorite.
Our 45-minute injury segment. It's fine. No Actually, I didn't do terrible this year.
You didn't.
This episode. But a lot of them were easy.
And to be fair, there is some stuff that you guys did miss. We can't put into this episode.
Oh, yeah.
Made it 45 fucking minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most of it was just us laughing, I think. But, yeah.
Our jokes that we shouldn't tell.
We're funny as fuck, guys.
Right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's close out with our favorite segment here. The player of the week. Chris, you want to take it away?
I believe I will. For our obscure...
That's a very weak draft name. Or way to talk. I believe I will.
I believe I shall.
I shall and I will.
You.
How about that?
Had about enough of your problems today. Don't know why we're very
your bullshit.
Yes.
I will.
We're very fancy and British all of a sudden. I don't understand why, but here we are. But for our obscure NHL player of the week, we have a player named Nico Selios. He is a Greek-American former player, was drafted 22nd overall in the 1997 draft.
Wow.
Fun fact, he is the first draft pick in the history of the Carolina Hurricanes.
Oh, shout out to Nikos.
Yeah.
Good for you, dude.
The cousin of another longtime NHL defenseman, you guys may have heard of him. His name is Chelios.
I wondered.
Never heard of him.
But I was confused as to how it spelled very different.
Well, they have two different last names, so I assume.
Yeah. But when you pronounced it that way, I was like, oh, that just reminds me of Chris Chelios.
Yeah.
I didn't know they were cousins, though. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Also, fun fact about Chris Chelios, his daughter works as a sideline reporter for the ESPN.
Yeah, I did know that.
She did a lot of Premier Lacrosse League stuff this year, and I know she does some NHL stuff now, which is super cool. So, but just 2 NHL games in this man's career. He played 2001, 2002. He played 2 games. For the Carolina Hurricanes. Anyone remember what they did in 2001, 2002?
Cried.
Sucked their thumbs.
I mean, I'm probably sure they might have done both of those in the way to winning a Stanley Cup.
I mean, happy tears. It was happy tears.
Right?
It was, and they might have been sucking their thumbs because they were drunk after celebrating.
They were sucking something, all right.
Listen,
to be fair,
you
have tricked us with that question before.
I have.
You have, because you
jerk.
That's why I'm never going to answer.
So now I shall never trust you again.
Yeah, that's fair. But in 2 games, those were his only 2 games in the NHL. No goals, no assists, but 6 penalty minutes. Now, my dear friends, this man had an AHL career. 259 career games in the AHL. 16 goals, 41 assists, a total of 57 points, and 287 penalty minutes.
Attaboy.
There it is.
Attaboy.
There we are.
He did win a silver medal in 97 with the U.S. World Juniors.
Nice.
World Junior Classic. 2 points in 7 games. That's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Very nice.
He retired in 2007, 2008 after playing overseas in Sweden.
Very nice.
He played 32 games with Orebro HK. I apologize, listeners, that I butchered your favorite team. But that is where he rounded out his career. He now owns and operates an instructional hockey business called Infinite Hockey Selects. And he lives in Illinois with his wife and his boy.
Awesome.
Nice.
Shout out to you, Nikos.
Shout out to you, Nikos.
What a
good
legend.
for you, bud.
But that was our obscure NHL player of the week. Now, I say, please leave my premises at once.
Be gone.
All right, bye.
All of you. Be gone.
I mean, just
good damn day.
I say. I love saying that.
I said good damn day.
Or when I look at people, just like, what are you suggesting?
I love it. I love it.
This is what I do in my free time. Is I speak in a regal English accent.
Yeah.
But like from the 1900s, which makes it that much better.
And then you also
like early, like.
Never mind.
Yeah.
He got.
Scandalous.
Well, this was another fun episode. So thank you guys.
Always.
This is wonderful. For our listeners, if you have a question that you want us to answer in our question of the week segment, be sure to comment it wherever you're watching this, if it's on whatever podcasting platform you prefer or YouTube, or feel free to shout us out on any of our socials, join our Discord, ask the question there, wherever you can think to find us to ask the question. Fucking do it.
Carrier pigeon too.
Carrier pigeon, always an option. We'll be
please
back
don't send
next
the syphilis
week.
bus to us.
No.
Oh God, no.
Not to happen.
Also, if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like, and subscribe. That would be super dope.
That really helps.
And then turn on notifications, let you guys know when we upload. Hit us up in the comments. I want to hear from you guys. Tell me, tell me who your favorite team is and how you think they're going to do this.
Yeah.
Unless it's the Nashville Predators, because we insulted you this episode, and I don't want to hear about it.
We insulted a lot of teams this episode. Let's be honest.
I mean, we did.
I mean, we're on par for the course.
We insult teams every episode, or players every episode.
And also sometimes our own teams. To be
most definitely.
A lot of last year was my own team. Me just being like, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah, it was
anyway, y'all.
But...
Thank you again for joining us. We will see you, mother puckers, in the face-off circle next week.